Dia punya anak kecil guys.
Jokesnya terlalu tua.
Baru nyadar, maaf ya guys.
Bagus, karena itu
Closing opposition is going to answer two key questions on our case. First of all, we are going to answer why the sacrifices of us attempting to impeach is low and why the opportunity cost of not impeaching is high. Second of all, I'm going to talk about the actual likelihood of the impeachment going to be successful, because I think that the entire side of the House only talks about the best case, worst case, without explaining which case is more likely to be successful at the end of the day. So first of all, let's talk about the sacrifices of us attempting is low. But before that, I just want to deal with opposing government first, right? So the entire case is about we are going to disappoint anti-establishment, and that's bad because participation in politics is going to be much lesser at the end of the day. So this are the responses. Number one, note that opening government has defined this House as Democrats, and that is also something that opening opposition, also closing opposition agrees upon. I do think that closing government can stand by themselves. Their argument is kind of left out. But second of all, let's just say that we engage to their definition of we want to champion all the things that is good for our United States, for all United States people, right? I think that we can pretty much agree that Trump is pretty much a bad person in comparison to virtually any other candidates right now. Even war criminals like George Bush is arguably better than Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, let alone candidates like Bernie Sanders or even Elizabeth Warren, for instance. We say that given this context, we must utilize all tools in our arsenal in order to impeach Trump at the end of the day. Now, when it comes to polarization and when it comes to decreasing the people's trust in the establishment, for example, I'm very sorry to say, but the current atmosphere in United States politics necessitates all political actors to use all tools at their disposal. Because Trump right now has been shown to literally use all tools in order to advance his power. He declared national emergency in order to get his wall passed. It is illegal action, but it is an immoral action. He tries to insert his sons into the key positions of government, which is also legal, but it is also unethical, ladies and gentlemen. So even if at the end of the day it is unethical and it reduces the participation of people inside the politics at the end of the day, at least we attempted to get him out of power, ladies and gentlemen, and that is going to be the and that is still a benefit that is independent regardless of who this House is. Now, with that said, I'm going to engage to the entirety of this to the rest of the House. So first of all, let's talk about the role of Congress in the impeachment process, right? Because opening government claims that Congress is going to be so distracted from other policy discussions if we do attempt an impeachment. This is not true, because Congress is not the executor of the impeachment process, but oftentimes they are only the initiator, ladies and gentlemen. This has been proven during the Mueller case study, in which the special counsel consisted of people with the background of law enforcement and police. Yes, there are congressional hearings, but most of the work are not done by congressmen, but it is done by state apparatus instead. So distraction of Democrats from key issues will not happen. Discussion will still happen, like proven with the case of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez continuously pushing for Green New Deal, for instance, and Elizabeth Warren continuously trying to justify her breakup of the big banks. So we say that the cost of attempting is low. But the question becomes, what is the cost of not attempting, right? We say that the cost is that right now, Trump is winning. Trump has the majority of his key promises fulfilled. His wall, it is fulfilled. He managed to get over the legal proceedings to declare national emergency and get his wall built at the end of the day. The Muslim ban was initially halted by the Court of Appeal, if I'm not mistaken, but at the end of the day, the partial ban still stands. Tax returns, it is also a policy that has been implemented successfully by Trump. Mueller campaign, Mueller himself has declared that he cannot prove that Trump did a collusion with Russia. And what does this tell you? And what does this result into? This results into Trump's approval rating after the Mueller announcement has been done to be skyrocketing, ladies and gentlemen. All of this goes on to show that this is the only major attempt, the only major option we have to impeach Trump at the end of the day, because all other issues have been won by Trump, or it is very menial in nature. Like, for example, we can try to exploit Trump's bigotedness. We can try to exploit Trump's, lack of understanding about economics, but it's not relevant anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We have been attempting that in the past for years and years now, but it is not work at all. So we say that since this is the only option and the cost of us attempting of it is very, very low, we don't think that any harm from the government stands at the end of this debate. Lastly, let's talk about opening government's heart about polarization. It is unfortunate that right now politics in the United States is very polarized. But we say on closing opposition that that's just how United States politics work right now, and we need to be pragmatic. We need to galvanize all possible supports that we can in order for us to have an energized mass at the end of the day. Note that a lot of people feels betrayed whenever the Democrats does not do things that they feel is good for them. Symbolism is something that is very important for majority of Democrats' constituents, ladies and gentlemen. And we say that even if the attempt is symbolic at best, it is still going to be energizing for the majority of Democrats' sympathizers. The likelihood of them to continue cooperating with us in the election process in the future is going to be big. So that's why we say that the opportunity cost of us not attempting to impeach is big. This concludes my first clash. Second clash, let's talk about the likelihood, right? So the majority side of the House talks about punishing and attacking Trump. We agree. We agree that Trump has to be punished and they have to be attacked. But the question becomes how, right? This is going to be exclusive contribution for closing opposition as to how the likelihood of it going to be successful is bigger. Two key layers. One is on the legal standing. Second of all, the support of key stakeholders. First of all, start with the legal standing. In the Mueller investigation, the initial suspicion is indirect in nature. The historical analysis is that there was Russian bots, and there is suspicion that Trump associates does business with Russian key actors, and so that's why the investigation runs. But right now, the whistleblower of this scandal explicitly stated that Trump explicitly requested his Ukrainian counterpart to investigate Joe Biden. So the initial suspicion is very, very big. So that's why we can imply that the likelihood of it going to be successful is going to be big as well. But secondly, that's about support of key stakeholders, right? Open government claims that Republicans will defend Trump nonetheless regardless of what we do. This is not true. Opposition to Trump, even within Republican circles themselves, is massive. We have a lot of resignations within Trump cabinets is already six. Like for example, Sean Spicer, Nikki Haley, a lot of key Trump ministers and Secretary of States have been resigning, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of Republicans in the Congress upholds the idealism of rule of law, which means that if something is lawful, their idealism trumps at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we say that Republican rebellion has been can be expected to happen. Lastly, opening government claims that most of Trump supporters are pure bigots. Two responses. One, no, most of the time they support the idea of necessary rebellion instead, like that majority of all Americans are pure bigots. But second of all, even if we talk about the pure bigots, oftentimes that pure bigots is not reflected in the Congress. A majority of people in the Congress, even if Republicans, they still uphold idealism related to conservatism. We